In the last chapter, we saw Yukiko got stomachache. So the doctor took out the X-ray. Seeing those X-ray results, they became surprised, as they had never seen such phenomena in their lifetime. A kidney was growing out a limbs and a skull, which was making no sense. However, they decided to do the surgery. In case they hadn't done it, whatever their thing was would have torn her stomach and killed her. Therefore, they had no choice but to do the operation. After cutting off her belly, the creature came out from her and called itself Tomie. Now next. Hi guys, this is Mr. Wisdom and you guys are welcome to my channel. I have started a manga which name is Tomie Junji Ito. So today we are going to cover the third part of Tomie Junji Ito, which name is Basement. Before we begin, I desire to talk about a few things. If someone didn't watch the previous part of this manga on my channel, so you should watch them after this one. You may think, why am I not saying to watch them before this video? Because I'm a new creator. Consequently, those parts may not be that interest you how I explain them. That's why I'm telling you to watch them after this one. I don't want you guys judge me due to those previous part of this manga I uploaded. I've been polishing myself ever since I uploaded the first video on this channel. And I'm not done yet. If you guys watch them after this one, so you will see how much I improved. And after that, you can decide to join this channel or not. Okay, I have nothing else to say, so let's start the video. The chapter has begun with a basement and some rumors among the patient. They were talking. In middle of night, an unscheduled operation had happened. From a patient had removed a kidney because it was growing limbs and a head. Moreover, they were saying there was still a chance it might still be there somewhere in the hospital. In the next panel, we can see a young man Sato was lying down on bed and reading a book. Meanwhile, a nurse came into his room and then she was telling him it was the time to tell her what his body temperature was. He smiled and answered her it was 97.7 degrees. Furthermore, she asked why he had sneaked around again in hospital. He replied with calm voice, because of the rumors, he said. Then she was telling him what rumor he had heard it. All of them weren't true, so he didn't need to bother himself anymore. Although she told him those rumors weren't accurate. But the thing is, he wasn't buying what she told him. After he walked out from his room, he followed her to see where she was going. What he saw, she was going to the basement. On the top of that, before she was entering to the basement room, she looked behind to see if someone was there or not. But she hadn't seen anyone. And meanwhile, Sato was hiding at the corner of the staircase. So that's why she hadn't seen him either. Afterward, when she was satisfied no one was there, she entered to the basement room. On the other hand, Sato was suspicious about that basement. Not because she went there. The thing is, ever since the rumors were created, he was hearing about the basement. And then how she acted, he was feeling something wasn't right there. Consequently, he decided he would go down there to see what was happening there. So once he went there, he stood beside the basement room to hear what they were talking. A nurse voice came out of the room and she was saying they couldn't control the room anymore. And some patient was wanting to transfer to another hospital as they were spooked out. On their statement, the director replied they had to wrap up everything quickly. 1 month ago, they received a dead body of a teenager girl who had been killed by her boyfriend. Meanwhile, they had been treating Yukiko. She had been suffering from a severe kidney ailment. Luckily, her and the victim blood type turned out to be the same, so they could perform a kidney transplant operation. They were just only waiting for the victim father to appear, and eventually, not only did he materialize, but also approved to donate her daughter's kidney to the patient. And therefore, they didn't think a lot and just did the kidney transplant surgery. Meanwhile, he vanished and never found him again. The operation was successful at first, but after a month, the kidney turned into a monster in a patient's own body. Consequently, they had no choice but to extract the kidney from her body. However, they were facing one problem during the procedure. The kidney had grown a head and penetrated into her stomach. To remove it from her, they had to sever the head at the neck, which they did. Nevertheless, just in few hours, it began regenerating from which area they had cut off the head. And then it looked like that, which was absolutely unbelievable. The director was blaming himself. It had happened because of him, he said. He had rushed to do the kidney transplant surgery as quickly as possible after receiving the permission. And then all those things happened. From then on, it was his responsibility to take care of Yukiko. Outside the room, Sato heard their conversation and also the name of the patient. So he realized he had seen the name while he had been following the nurse. Consequently, he decided he would visit her. And now he was standing in front of her door. There was a sign, no visitor. After seeing that sign, he was even more wary. Why they had stopped people not to see her, he said. Anyways, he entered to the room. Yukiko was sitting on the bed, looking outside the window. She heard door opening sound. She thought it would be Tadashi, so she called his name. Nevertheless, when she looked behind, it wasn't him. Then she asked Sato who he was. He answered her, his name is Sato, and he had come here to see her, how she was doing. She replied she was fine then. Furthermore, he offered her tea. He would make tea for them both. While he was making the tea, the director came into her room. He was surprised seeing Yukiko was sitting, not laying down on bed. Okay, the thing isn't here why she was sitting. The thing is, only 2 days ago, a surgery was performed on her body. That's why he was in shock. She was sitting at that time. Come to the story, he told her she should lay down on bed, otherwise her wound would tear open. But she answered she wasn't feeling a pain any longer. After hearing that, he was understanding her. She wasn't feeling a pain because of the painkiller. Once its effect had gone, she would start feeling a pain once again. Meanwhile, Sato crawled out from her room. In addition, outside the room, he was wondering if director had found out he was there, what he would have done with him. In the next panel, we can see director and Dr. Tamura were standing in corridor. They were talking about Yukiko healing ability. They couldn't believe she had been healed that much quickly. Director asked opinion from Dr. Tamura, what he was thinking about this abnormal situation. So he told him it might be something to do with the kidney. After all, for 1 month it had been in her body. If some tissue had been left in her during the procedure, it would be dangerous for her life. Further, he said it might be possible what thing had been healing her. It might be some kind of cancer. If she had been carrying a such thing, her life was in big risk, so they had to solve this mystery as quickly as possible. Then they were shoving a trolley to the gamma rays room in order to do some experiment. Since they had a doubt it might be some kind of cancer and gamma rays could be effective against traditional cancer, so that's why they brought it there. And meanwhile, Yukiko was standing on the roof of the hospital to enjoy the view. Sato came there as well. He was searching her all over the places, and at the end he found her and stood beside her. She asked him why he had been there. He told her he had been there for a view. Afterward, she expressed her desire to him. She wished she had been pretty girl. If she had been, she might have been able to stay with Tadashi forever. After hearing those things from her, he was telling her she was already very cute and also a charming woman, and he had never seen girl like her before. Meanwhile, director and Dr. Tamura used gamma rays on their creature, but the result made them speechless. Instead of being destroyed, she was developing even faster. In addition, she was even able to talk after that. The creature requested to Dr. Tamura whether he would remove her from their place. A man had been looking her for a long time, she said. He had been watching her from their cabinet. Hearing those things, they were terrified and confused about what she was talking. In the next panel, director asked her who she was. She answered her name is Tomie. Moreover, she was telling to Tamura she loved him at the moment she had seen his handsome face. Consequently, she requests him to take her out of there, hold her in his own arms, and kiss her as well. After hearing those things from her, they were horrified. As a result, they quickly walked out of the room, locked the door, and left the basement. Dr. Tamura didn't want to look at her anymore, so he suggested to director they should stop the experiment. It might go even worse. However, director didn't want to do that, as they had to find out the cure for Yukio. So Tamura told to director from then on, he had to do the work on it himself, and he didn't have any attention to involve in it anymore. The day had passed, and then the night had come. Once again, Sato left his room and sneaking around in hospital. He was planning to walk into the basement room at that night because the night was the perfect time to look in what was exactly happening down there. So when he reached to the basement room, he heard noise coming up from inside the room. It looked like someone was in there. After a moment, someone was trying to twist the door handle to open the door. Since it was locked, whoever was inside the room, it wasn't easy for him to unlock it. Meanwhile, Sato was standing beside the door, and he was frightened and sweating a lot as not knowing who was inside. Eventually, the door was opened. A man came out of the room, walked straight to the staircase, and then the mysterious man left the basement. After he left, Sato went into the room. However, he wasn't able to see what was in the room, as the whole room was pitch black. He took out the torch and turned on the light. After that, he was able to see things. Furthermore, he looked around for a while, but when he pointed the light to the wall, he saw a girl sitting in water container, and that made him speechless. He hadn't known that was coming. Afterward, when she saw the light was coming, she also turned her head to see who was there. However, he asked for forgiveness from her because he hadn't known she was bathing there. If he had been the knowledge, he wouldn't have come to that room, and then he left the place. While he was walking on the staircase, he felt pain in his stomach because he wasn't fully recovered. On the other hand, he was also curious what he saw in the basement. Meanwhile, at the basement, Tomie came out from the water container. She dressed up and then she walked out from the room as well as the basement. Okay, video come to the end. Where she was going and what she was planning, we will see in the next part. So subscribe the channel if you don't want to miss the next video. You may think why I didn't record or upload the whole chapter, because not only is this chapter lengthy, but also my channel is new, so I can't upload a very long video for now. It's effect of my channel. So as a result, I decided to divide this chapter in two parts. This one was the first part, and the second part I will upload as soon as I can. So see you then, and also thanks for watching.